We're live.
All right, hello everybody. JT Siskowski here with Status Coup News. I am outside of the ICE detention facility here in Broadview, Illinois. Just here over my shoulder, you can see all of the demonstrators who are out here letting ICE and the federal government know that their occupation of their cities and their communities is not welcome. But we're out here live right now because we are going to give you some breaking news, which is that U.S. District Judge April Perry has handed down a partial injunction against the Trump administration from deploying the National Guard here in the Chicagoland area. We have actually been out here in Broadview, well, for several weeks, but earlier today we were out here and actually saw National Guard members. I did just a few minutes ago, patrolling, walking back and forth out in front of this facility out here in Broadview, Illinois. But that breaking news again is just that U.S. District Judge April Perry says that it is the government is at least partially enjoined. We're not sure what that partial means exactly. Perry has been giving a long statement to the lawyers in this case, walking them through a lot of her decision-making. We're waiting for some details to come out. The latest is that she has just handed a copy of her order to both the state of Illinois and the federal government, giving them some time here to actually go over some of the details of her ruling. So some of those details are still coming out. But what we do know is that the Trump administration is at least partially blocked from deploying federal guard members here in the state of Illinois. And she said that that decision largely came down to a credibility determination, quote unquote, credibility determination, finding that she simply, quote, I simply cannot credit the Trump administration's declarations to the extent they contradict state and local law enforcement. The Department of Homeland Security's perception of events are simply unreliable. And what she's citing there is just a determination that the federal government is exaggerating, heavily exaggerating, and we can tell you from personal experience from being on the ground here just how batshit insane some of the things the Trump administration are trying to claim is happening here on the ground in Broadview and in Chicago. Essentially how crazy that is, it doesn't make much sense, so she's inclined to go with the state's version of events as to what's happening here in this case. Perry says, quote, I have seen no credible evidence that there is danger of rebellion in the state of Illinois, unquote. That is something that the Trump administration was trying to assert as a reason that it needs to deploy the federal guard here. She cited other federal prosecutions and lawsuits in Chicago as of late that says in the quote in the last 48 hours in 4 separate unrelated legal decisions from different neutral parties, they all cast significant doubt on the DHS's credibility and assessment of what is happening on the streets of Chicago, unquote. Quote, the National Guard are not trained in de-escalation or other extremely important law enforcement functions that would help quell these problems, unquote. And she said that if anything, that allowing troops to come into Chicago will, quote, will only add fuel to the fire that the defendants themselves, meaning the federal government here, the Trump administration, have started. Quote, there's no evidence that the president is unable with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. And she goes on to say that the deployment of the National Guard is, quote, likely to lead to civil unrest. That was a determination that was or an opinion that was shared by local leaders here in Chicago, that simply having the National Guard out here invites more challenge, more protests, more demonstrations. And we just got done speaking to Alder Jesse Fuentes, who on Friday was detained by ICE herself when trying to get answers from DHS officials about why they were attempting to arrest someone in her ward that she represents in Chicago. And she says that the chaos of all of this is the point, that Trump is trying to create a pretext to invoke the Insurrection Act, declare martial law, and sees the bringing in the National Guard as just a natural extension of that ratcheting up of tensions here in Chicago. And as the judge said there, that the Guard is, quote, the presence of the National Guard is likely to lead to civil unrest. We can back that up from our reporting that at least that federal presence is what leads to any unrest here. All the noise that you might be hearing out here behind us, we've had a helicopter circling overhead. There's quite a significant media presence that we'll show you in just a minute. But you can hear the protesters likely behind me on bullhorns. They were playing music. Some of the passing cars, it's rush hour here. There's a lot of cars going past. They're laying on the horns. All that noise and all the concentration and the attention paid here on this facility is because ICE is using this facility to further its mission, Operation Midway Blitz, here in the Chicagoland area to disappear people. And so that mission, in effect, that presence here is what is drawing the attention, is what is drawing the consternation and the anger of all of these people here behind me. And that if the Trump administration were to just leave, they would have no reason to protest. We saw that most plainly out in the Brighton Park neighborhood where federal authorities actually shot someone, and that brought out quite the response from the community. They were out in the streets yelling at ICE, protesting their presence in that Chicago community, enacting violence on their fellow community members. And as soon as federal authorities left that scene, the crowd dispersed. Chicago police were still there. The crowd could have continued to protest them, but they did not. They just dispersed once ICE was gone and out of their communities, once the Department of Homeland Security was gone and out of their communities, going to back up there what the judge is finding here in this suit. So we're still waiting for more information about the judge's order, exactly the extent to which it is barring National Guard troops from being on the ground here. As I said just a few minutes ago, we still saw National Guard troops here patrolling outside of the ICE facility. But this is the latest loss that the Trump administration has been handed in federal court here in Illinois. Just earlier today, a federal judge, also in the same federal court building, blocked the Trump administration authorities from using force against journalists in the Chicago area, including threats or arrest or the use of riot control weapons. And there was also another case that had to do with the types of use of force that federal authorities are using here and under what circumstances. And then there's also been some criminal charges that were dismissed earlier today, and we're still expecting more of these court cases for those orders to come out in more of these cases and more developments in these cases to happen in the coming days. There's at least one more criminal case that was being brought against a veteran who was shoved over by DHS authorities out here on this site just a week or so ago. His charges are still making it through. He's got a court appearance tomorrow. There's also, earlier this week, there was a court hearing on, if you can see through the net, through the protesters there behind me, there's a fence up out in front of the actual ICE facility. I think John right now is attempting to maybe zoom in and show. No, we're going to keep it here on me. It makes more sense. But there's a fence out there that is illegally erected, and the city, the village of Broadview has taken the federal government to court over that. There were some arguments. We're expecting an order in that case in the coming days. And so just to reset here, if you're just joining us, what happened is a federal judge has blocked the Trump administration from deploying the National Guard to Chicago streets. This is a partial block. We just know it's a partial order in favor of the state of Illinois, blocking the federal government from deploying National Guard troops here to the streets of Broadview, Illinois, to the Chicagoland area. We're still waiting to hear exactly what that partial in that order means exactly. In what ways does the federal government still have the authority to act with the National Guard, if any at all? But as I said, this was an order that just came out within the last hour. And again, so the federal government partially blocked from deploying the National Guard to the streets of Chicago. We're outside of the Broadview ICE facility here in Broadview, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago, and this is where many of the protests have been concentrated in this area. We've seen ICE tear gas demonstrators out here. Border Patrol, ICE, Department of Homeland Security agents arrest folks out here, throw people to the ground, brutalize them, shoot them with pepper balls, shoot them with rubber bullets out here. And I'm going to start to give you a little bit of sense of the scene. So right behind us here is the small group of protesters that you can see, and we're going to hear from some of them and get their reactions to this ruling here in just a moment. But I wanted to give you a sense there. They've got a big sign up that says "No troops in our streets," a reference to the National Guard being deployed out here that has now been at least partially blocked by a federal judge. We're still waiting for more information in that to come out. The federal judge in this case saying that she just cannot trust the federal government's version of events and has to go with the state backing them, and saying the Trump administration has not proved that the state of Illinois is on the verge of some open rebellion. So therefore, why is the National Guard even necessary? It seems like the Department of Homeland Security and state police and local authorities have the situation under control out here, to the extent that there even is a situation. You see them gathered here in these behind these concrete barriers here behind me in these free speech zones. If you look over, these concrete barriers were put up by the village of Broadview to keep people out of the street and kind of pen them in. That's been a point of frustration for some demonstrators. And as you keep turning to look there, down at the other end of the street, you see quite the media presence out here today. This was not here just yesterday. We've been out here in one form or another for 2 weeks now. John has been living here in Broadview, Illinois. I've been out here off and on for over a week now. And as you can see, quite the media presence. I don't know exactly every single media outlet that's represented out here, but my God, when the National Guard get deployed, suddenly everybody's in the streets. When people are being tear gassed out here, when folks are being shot with rubber bullets, when folks are just protesting the kidnapping of their friends, family, neighbors, the media presence was minimal. It was us. It was a few local outlets, a couple of other independent sources, and every once in a while you'd see a national outlet parachute in, or you'd see the likes of like News Nation actually embedding themselves in an ICE operation to arrest and detain people. But aside from that, you have not seen this scene out here. All of these cameras, all of these lights, the millions of dollars of investment out there by the mainstream media to be here on this scene from the corporate press now to just give you a shot outside this building. But we usually see protests out here on Fridays, on Friday mornings, on Saturday nights. Will this presence continue to be here? Will the cameras still show what happens out here during those times? We'll wait and see, but the track record hasn't been great. So again, if you're just joining us, we're here outside of the Broadview ICE detention facility because to give you some breaking news, which is that a federal judge has partially ruled in favor of the state of Illinois, barring the deployment of the National Guard from the streets of Chicago and the Chicagoland area. We've seen National Guard soldiers here outside of the Broadview ICE detention facility. If you value what we do, if you value the fact that we have been living here in Chicago, in the Chicago area for the last 2 weeks, bringing you this repeated on-the-ground look as to what it's like putting our camera right there in the action, getting tear-gassed, being right there as protesters are victimized with rubber bullets, with pepper balls, as folks are physically thrown to the ground. If you value that on-the-ground reporting that we are giving you right now and will continue to give you even after the corporate, even after the mainstream press, the corporate press leaves, if you value that, please become a paid subscriber, a supporter of ours. It helps keep us here on the ground. You know, it goes to cover things like just like camera equipment, to keep our cameras functioning, to keep these live broadcasts happening so you can see what happens. It goes to pay for our abilities to stay here on the ground. Like, our hotel room is not cheap. It adds up over time. And so we're so eternally thankful for everybody who supports us. Go to StatusCoup.com/join. That's StatusCoup.com/join to become a subscriber. It's $5 a month. That's all we ask for. 16 cents a day. Keeps us telling these important stories and giving you this on-the-ground look as to what it's like right now in the Chicagoland area as the federal government is out here brutally brutalizing people, kidnapping people, disappearing them, shipping them overseas, separating families. This kind of reporting is so invaluable, and it takes so little to support us. So we're so thankful for all of you who do choose to support us. And so from me, from John, from Jordan, from Colin, from Michelle, from our whole team, thank you if you are able to do that. So this, I'm gonna start stepping into the crowd here to try and find some folks to get the reaction to this news that the Trump administration has been at least partially barred from deploying troops to Chicago's streets. So we'll continue to give you that look of the scene here as I try to find, as we search for someone to talk to. Yeah. Let's see here. So the situation is still developing here. So we've got, like, I'm getting live text updates as we're here on the air, so you can get the latest information as it happens. And yeah, this is information on the partial blocking. So Judge April Perry says that the order will say defendants are temporarily enjoined from ordering the federalization and deployment of the National Guard of the United States within Illinois. So that is it's a temporary injunction from federalizing National Guard troops, which is what the Trump administration had attempted to do. First, Donald Trump had called J.B. Pritzker, this is according to the governor, had called the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, called him and said, either you need to mobilize the National Guard or I, the president, will federalize it. The governor declined to mobilize the Guard himself, so that is what the Trump administration did. They brought troops out here from Texas, from Illinois, here into the streets out here. And that's some of the troops that we have seen behind us here inside of this facility, walking back and forth on the sidewalk. And we were expecting to see them in more places around Chicago as soon as tomorrow. But now that will not be the case. So that is the very latest here that we are getting from the federal court building in downtown Chicago.
Yes, we did it. Yeah. Megan.
Okay. All right. So we'll come right over here by the camera. All right. So we are here with Megan, and Megan, the news here from just under an hour ago is that the federal government has been partially blocked from deploying from federalizing the National Guard here within the state of Illinois. You've been out here demonstrating. This is not the first time we have talked. So I know that I've seen you out here. You feel very passionately about this issue. Just your first reaction when you hear that National Guard troops won't be, at least we've seen them out here within the last few minutes, but should be withdrawing, should be pulling back from this mission if the Trump administration is going to follow this ruling. Your reaction?
That if is the big one. It's exciting. It's a big win. Will it happen? Is like you said, if the Trump administration follows through, which history speaks for itself, they don't really care about what judges say. I'm also pretty excited that the federal judge ruled that they have to identify themselves now. That's a big one for me. That's a big concern for me, that they're able to pick people up off the street. They have no identification. Their faces are covered. Their cars aren't identified, and they can just grab people off the street. So hopefully they follow through on that one too.
Yeah, and Megan's making reference to the fact that we have gotten a number of federal rulings here. We're gonna move as we talk here, Megan, because we are standing right across a driveway where folks need to be able to get in and out. So we'll move for them so that they're able to get through. But yes, Megan making reference to the fact that we've gotten a number of federal rulings here today that are dramatically changing the situation here in Illinois, in Broadview. I mean, like, let's be frank, like, it's for the better, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, it's like,
it's good that judges are standing up, for sure. If even if they don't follow through and listen, it'll have an impact, at least. That there are people in the higher ups, and it's not just the little guys on the street that are standing up. That there are federal judges that are standing up against this.
So I was first going to say, before you kind of elaborated a little bit more on how you felt, I was going to say, trust but verify, like cautiously optimistic. But I don't know, you say like, track record with the Trump administration makes you question a little bit. So like, how confident are you that this ruling is going to make a real difference in the lives of people here in Chicago?
I'm confident that it will make us at least anecdotally feel better, that we have federal judges backing what we're standing up against here. Whether or not they follow through with any of it and the National Guard stays or goes, I'm not too worried about the National Guard being here, because it's just a show, and really, like, there's really legally not a whole lot they can do when they're here. It's like I heard they were just picking up trash in Washington, D.C. because they're not really legally allowed to do much. So it's really just a show, but they do need to get out of here, because what is Texas National Guard doing in Illinois?
Did it feel, I mean, when you saw that National Guard troops were going to be deployed here, I mean, I've heard words like invasion kind of thrown around. I mean, is that what it felt like for folks who aren't living here in the state of Illinois right now, where when you hear that troops are going to be deployed to your city, your community, your home, what is the feelings that were going through your mind? It
feels like it is what they're leading up to Civil War. It feels like, who declares we're in Civil War now? I feel like there's so many steps being taken towards that, and that's part of it.
Yeah, that's a common sentiment that I've heard from folks here. We just got done interviewing an alder in the city of Chicago who expressed very similar feelings to what you said there about what the end goal here is, or where we're headed. And it truly did feel like a scary place. Do you feel like a sense of relief? I mean, is it like, do you feel like you've averted that worst case scenario here with this ruling, or do you still feel like the federal government is targeting you out here?
I guess, like I said, it's some sense of relief just knowing that there are people higher up that are pushing back. J.B. Pritzker and the mayor of Chicago, they've said a lot of things. So it doesn't seem like there's been a whole lot of action. I don't know exactly what they could do. But just having federal judges make those rulings shows that he does not have full authority over everybody. There are still people that are going to stand up to him. So that's the win I'm taking today.
Since I've been here reporting in the Chicago area since before Operation Midway Blitz started, and something that I've been asking these weeks after weeks of folks is, do you have people who are out demonstrating against the Trump administration? Do you have the energy to go the distance? And every single time people have said, yes, I will continue to be out here in the streets. I get a win, like the several wins that folks against the protesting against the Trump administration have gotten here today. I mean, was it needed? Like, did you need a win in order to have the strength to keep going?
I didn't need a win. No, it definitely helps. But no, I'm going to be here. My shop is 6 minutes down the road that way. My dad's apartment is 6 minutes down the road that way. He's unwell, and I've been taking care of him. So it's sort of like on my path anyway. So I feel like a lot of friends of mine that are standing up against this that aren't able to come out, I feel like I've been put in a place that I am able to. So I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah. And just to reiterate, 6 minutes from your business that you own and operate, 6 minutes from your father who you care for. That's how much a part of the community this is. It's not for folks in the Chicago area. This is not happening just on a TV screen. This is here. This is real. And also, I mean, what an American story that you are juggling, trying to, make a living on the one hand, having to care for your own father on the other, and then worrying about the federal government, taking away your rights on a daily basis, disappearing people around you. What have you heard? Have you had many conversations with other demonstrators out here today about these rulings? Like, what's the general mood that you've heard?
I think we just heard right before I started talking to you, and everybody seems pretty jazzed about it.
Megan, thank you very much for talking to me. Is there anything that I should have asked that I haven't?
No, I think we covered most of it.
Thank you very much for your time.
What you guys are doing.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna kind of give you a lay of the land here. John, what are you thinking? You wanna go back over here by the media a little bit, and so we're gonna kind of give you a lay of the land as to how things are different out here today from previous days. If you've been following our live on the ground coverage here, we've been live for the last 2 weeks now. We've been here on the ground, and I've been coming here for reporting before that. We're giving you a look here. This is the media scene. We have not seen anything like this up until Trump deployed the National Guard. There's been some local press. There's been the occasional national corporate outlet, but for the most part, it's been local press and a few independent outlets, and we're the only ones who have been here day in, day out for 2 weeks. Hear the honks of the cars there. These are cars that are going by. This is the kind of the terminus of an exit ramp off of the interstate nearby. So plenty of folks just on their normal drive home come past this facility and lay on the horn as a sign of protest against the Department of Homeland Security and a sign of solidarity with the protesters. But what I'm showing you here is just all of this media attention where they have set up. You see here the sign for protest area, stay off street, and there's a media staging area sign opposite that one on the other side of the street. You see here all of the cameras, all of the lighting setups, some of the reporters getting ready to do the late night news hits. I would hazard to guess that, though, when it comes time for the tear gas to start flying out here, for protesters to be brutalized at the hands of the federal government, I question if these cameras will continue to be here, because they weren't here. We were, but they were not. Just a week or two ago, and to the extent that they were, it was always in and out, in and out. And you see some protesters gathering out here. This is the corner of Beach and Lexington in Broadview, Illinois. You see some gathering out here trying to get honks of approval from the cars, and trying to hey, we're a known quantity out here because we've been on the ground every single day. So yes, we're a known quantity out here. The folks seem to appreciate our coverage, and if you appreciate our coverage, please continue to support our work. If you go to StatusCoup.com/join, $5 a month is what keeps us on the ground here in Chicago. 16 cents a day goes to keep us fed, keep our camera working, giving us a place to sleep at the end of every reporting day after we've been tear gassed, running all over the city, following marches and demonstrations, trying to chase down ICE operations as they are happening in the moment. And all of that reporting is made possible by our subscribers. So if that's you, thank you very much. So again, we are live because a federal judge, Judge April Perry, here based at the federal courthouse in downtown Chicago, issued a partial injunction against the federal government from federalizing the National Guard and deploying them here in the state of Illinois. As the Trump administration had just done, they had federalized parts. They had federalized the Illinois National Guard and also brought out units of the Texas National Guard and put them in the streets here in Broadview, Illinois, just a block down that way at the ICE detention facility. We saw them as recently as just a few minutes ago, and you can hear all the horns, making it difficult for me to focus. And I'll walk you through some of the judge's reasoning as to what happened here. So I'll also note that the judge's restraining order covers deployment of federalized troops in all of Illinois, not just Chicago or Broadview. Those have been the communities that we have largely focused our reporting on: Chicago, Broadview, Chicago, because that's where a lot of the ICE operations have been taking place, and the Department of Homeland Security's Operations Midway Blitz has been focused. And Broadview, Illinois, which is where we are now because of the ICE facility, which is just down the street from where we are standing. But this applies to the entire state of Illinois, and as we have continued to interview folks on the ground here, the theme that we have heard from people over and over again is that they're seeing ICE operations further and further afield of Chicago. That it's really all of Illinois that is being caught up in Operation Midway Blitz right now.
So, George, just wanted to let you know the Texas Guard is here, but also California.
Right. Yes, and I should also note that the California National Guard has also been deployed here to Illinois, and will also be covered by this ruling, as we understand it, as the details are just coming out right now, because the judge has just made this ruling here just within the last couple of hours, just a little over an hour ago. So here behind me, behind the media presence, behind the concrete barricades, behind the fence at the far end of the block, is an ICE detention and facility here in Broadview, Illinois, where National Guard troops had been stationed, had been patrolling out front of as recently as at less than an hour ago. I saw some walking up and down the sidewalk outside. Now I currently do not see any. Not to say that that is a direct result of this ruling, that they're responding that quickly, but at least a visual metaphor for what we're learning has happened here, which is that a federal judge has ruled that the President of the United States has been temporarily enjoined from federalizing National Guard units and deploying them here in the state of Illinois. And that was largely a determination of just not being able to trust the federal government and its version of events. That's what the judge, April Perry, said in this case. She said she looked at the narrative that was presented by the department, by attorneys for the federal government and by attorneys for the state of Illinois, and determined that the story being presented by the federal government just didn't make a lot of logical sense. That the federal government was trying to insist that the need for federal guard troops or National Guard troops, was needed. They determined that it was needed because the scene out here, or because of the law enforcement, the federal law enforcement was not getting the job done here in the Chicagoland area. They were also saying, it was about crowd control, all of these things. But the judge finding that the state police have been able to handle crowd control in these situations. We've seen them be quite aggressive in how they do that, but the judge finding that nonetheless that local law enforcement getting the job done in helping manage crowd control, and finding that the presence of National Guard troops would likely just create a further scene. She said, quote, "I simply cannot credit the Trump administration's declarations to the extent that they contradict state and local law enforcement. The Department of Homeland Security's perception of events are simply unreliable," unquote. That is what the judge in this case, April Perry, said. She said, quote, "I have seen no credible evidence that there is danger of rebellion in the state of Illinois," unquote, which is something that the Trump administration was attempting to assert, that the National Guard was needed to counter some sort of rebellious spirit here. We've also seen, you'll hear a loud truck go by me here. As I said, we are right along near the interstate. This is a natural exit point. It brings a lot of traffic by here, a lot of eyes on this facility, a lot of honking as folks call out their support for the protesters out here, signal that they do not want ICE in their communities, that they do not want their communities torn apart, families torn apart out here, and that's the noise that you're hearing behind me. But yes, the federal government trying to assert that the state of Illinois was on the verge or actively in some form of rebellion. We've heard Trump, the president himself, and we've seen several of his hangers-on, like Stephen Miller, his deputy chief of staff, and other Trump administration officials use the word insurrection when describing events happening here in Chicago, in the Chicagoland area, in Portland, and other places around the country, using that phrase insurrection as a way to signal, the pretext that they have been trying to create here. Because every time that we have seen in our reporting, every time we have seen the federal authorities here involved in some situation, whether it be interacting with the protesters here outside of the ICE facility or in the streets of Chicago and the surrounding communities, every time they have been an agitating force here, creating the response that they are fearful of and just naturally exists here in Chicago. But that couldn't be further from the truth. As an example, the Department of Homeland Security authorities shot a woman here just within the last week in the Chicago neighborhood of Brighton Park. We were there. We saw the demonstrators come out and protest the presence of the Department of Homeland Security authorities wearing masks on their streets. And those protesters out there making their voices heard and protesting the presence of ICE, of Border Patrol in their communities. As soon as ICE and Border Patrol left, as soon as they pulled out of that neighborhood, those protests dissipated. We saw protesters throw water bottles and such at ICE vehicles and Department of Homeland Security vehicles as they were driving out, but only after the Department of Homeland Security had tear gassed the crowd. Out here, we saw the Department of Homeland Security tear gas protesters. John himself behind the camera got tear gassed in that incident, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before. Last Friday morning, we saw the state of Illinois police move protesters off of the street, keep a street clear so that ICE vehicles here outside of the Broadview facility could continue to get through. That street was clear. There was no need for additional violence. And yet, we saw federal authorities come out here from this detention facility, come out, rough up protesters, throw them to the ground, arrest several people, all for the cameras that they have been carrying around with them to produce propaganda. So yes, all of that, the behavior that we have seen here for the last several weeks, that we have shown you with our own camera, all of that playing a part in this partial injunction that Judge April Perry, federal judge April Perry, has placed on the Trump administration from federalizing Illinois, California, and Texas National Guard units and deploying them here in the Chicago area and in the entire state of Illinois. Perry says, quote, "I have seen no credible evidence that there is a danger of rebellion in the state of Illinois." She went on to cite that other federal prosecutions and lawsuits in Chicago that have been ruled on, quote, "in the last 48 hours in 4 separate unrelated legal decisions from different neutral parties, they have all cast significant doubt on DHS's," meaning the Department of Homeland Security's, credibility and assessment of what is happening on the streets of Chicago. She says, quote, "The National Guard are not trained in de-escalation or other extremely important law enforcement functions that would help to quell these problems," unquote. "Allowing troops to come into Chicago," quote, "will only add fuel to the fire that the defendants themselves have started," unquote. And we were potentially going to see some of that prediction of the future play out tomorrow outside of the federal court building, because we had heard from state lawyers, from the state of Illinois lawyers, in making arguments in this case, at least through reporting from the Chicago Tribune, that lawyer, one of the lawyers in the case there, had said that there were plans to send federalized National Guard troops to the federal courthouse as part of their mission here, and we were also preparing for protests outside of the federal courthouse. Again, creating that opportunity for that conflict if it were to arise. And we heard, we interviewed just a short time ago, earlier this afternoon, we interviewed Jesse Fuentes, who is the alder for the 26th Ward here in, or not here because we're in Broadview, Illinois, but in nearby Chicago. She said that she saw the Trump administration undertaking a pattern of escalation here in this community and in these communities in this state as a way to justify greater and greater presence and control over these communities. Perry went on to say, that's the judge in this case, went on to say that the deployment of the National Guard is, quote, "likely to lead to civil unrest," unquote. She handed a draft of the order to both sides in this case, both the state attorneys and the federal attorneys, and left the bench. She's letting them look over her ruling until she returns. She was giving quite the lengthy oral ruling there from the bench. So again, this ruling applying not just here to the Chicagoland area, even though that's been a lot of the focus of these Department of Homeland Security operations, Operation Midway Blitz, where they are attempting to just blanket arrest many people, profile entire communities, entire people. We were talking to people in neighborhoods here who said that they feel scared to go to the store. They only go for essentials, that the presence of U-Haul vans, of black vans, because they've been seen being used by ICE, by Border Patrol, that just the presence of those vehicles, these common everyday vehicles in their communities, makes them nervous, gives them pause. We've seen folks, we've heard from people who have told us that they're going to walk around now with their birth certificates in their pockets, walk around with their papers to be able to show authorities. In the United States of America, a country that's supposedly based on freedom to go, to be who you want, to go where you want, do what you want, be who you want to be, you have to carry your papers around to avoid federal authorities from possibly just scooping you up on just a mere suspicion that you might be here outside of the normal immigration channels. Some scathing quotes here from Judge April Perry. Quote, "Not even Alexander Hamilton could have envisioned one state's militia to be used against another state's residents because the president wants to punish those with views other than his own." The judge there making a reference to the fact that we had units here from California and from Texas that were brought here at the president's bidding to be here in the streets of Chicago, orchestrating interstate, you almost want to say invasion by troops. We've heard that word used now by people here in these communities, and an invasion, and I mean, I think we can just call it what it is, of federal authorities, their presence here in the Chicago streets. In a separate ruling in which a judge banned ICE and Border Patrol from using excessive force against journalists, Judge Ellis says all uniformed federal agents, quote, "must have visible identification, including when wearing riot gear," unquote. This is in response to complaints that ICE and Border Patrol agents have largely been masked and anonymous. So they're a federal judge saying that that these law enforcement have to be identifiable in some form. That has been a central demand of the protesters out here. They have repeatedly called for that to be the case, that federal authorities be able to identify themselves. We've seen quite the interaction between protesters and authorities, between protesters and federal authorities, where they have been saying, there have been taunts from the crowd of like, show us who you are, please, to like get more information from law enforcement about where some of these people who are being picked up by ICE, by Border Patrol, where they're being sent, where they're being held, not getting any response back from masked agents who come out into the crowd just to antagonize. We saw one man who was one Department of Homeland Security officer last Friday who was on top of an armored vehicle just blowing kisses to the crowd of protesters who had gathered as a clear sign of antagonism. Thank you to, I just got to say thank you again to all of our supporters, the folks who are paying $5 a month, 16 cents a day to keep us here on the ground, bringing you this news as it breaks, as we are doing now, giving you this ruling nearly sentence by sentence as it is being read out by the judge in this case. If you can continue to support us to stay on the ground here in Chicago, we don't parachute in and do one live shot for one evening newscast like you're seeing happen here behind me with so many of these cameras that were not here yesterday but are here today, even though circumstances on the ground are only marginally different from the day before. The media now, it's convenient for them to be out here talking about this story. Here they are, here's the corporate press. But independent media, like Status Coup, we're the only independent media who's been on the ground now for 2 weeks, repeatedly out here showing you what it's like on the ground outside of this facility here in Broadview, Illinois, what it's like in downtown Chicago, what it's like in many of these neighborhoods that are being victimized by ICE, by Border Patrol right now. If you can please support us to continue to do this work, to be able to fund our camera gear, to be able to fund to keep us here. John likes to remind me from time to time that he likes to eat. So if you can continue to keep us fed, that would be great as well. Yeah, it's $5 a day, statuscoup.com/join. StatusCoup.com/join, $5 a month. Thank you. Thank you to all of our subscribers. So after the ruling after the judge ruling, Illinois State Attorney General was fighting back tears when he said, quote, "The question on whether the President of the United States should have unfettered authority to militarize our cities was answered today." And that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about the militarization of American cities, the occupation of American cities by armed soldiers. Literally in the case of federal guard, in federalized National Guard soldiers, but also in effect through militarized police forces, ICE, Border Patrol, all of the agencies that are that have been out here that we have seen under the Department of Homeland Security, occupation of American cities. Again, the Attorney General for the state of Illinois, who was sitting up front during the arguments in today's court hearing, saying, quote, "The question on whether the President of the United States should have unfettered authority to militarize our cities was answered today." Yeah, we're gonna adjust here. The sun is starting to go down, so we're gonna make an adjustment to our camera. Please stay with us. We're also, I think, gonna go and try and get a couple of more interviews, get some reaction here from some of these protesters that are here just across the street.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you again.
Yeah, we've been out here for a little while now.
I mean, did you go back to New York, or
No.
have you been here for days?
So I'm lucky.
Oh, that's right. You're local.
Madison.
Right?
Yeah. So I've gone back like for a day here and there. I've got a 7-week-old daughter. Go back home from here every once in a while. Poor John, though, has been living here for the last couple of weeks.
You've been here this whole time?
Make a journal.
So
Write in a journal every day. They want to interview you.
yeah, I want to kind of get everybody's reaction out here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, folks, if we could kind of gather around here,
He does not want to be on TV.
Yeah.
I'll be on TV.
Yeah.
I'm just not giving you my name.
Gotcha. We're Status Coup. We're independent, progressive media. We've been on the ground here for the last 2 weeks. Covering the protests here, what's happening in some of these neighborhoods in Chicago. We're out here right now getting folks' reaction to what has happened with the recent ruling from the federal judge here in Chicago, barring the Trump administration, at least temporarily, from federalizing the National Guard. Just want to get reaction.
Go Illinois!
The Constitution works.
We love J.B. Pritzker. A little due process for you.
Yeah, folks making reference there to you heard the excitement there. Hopefully it came across through my microphone. It only reaches so far away from my face. But yeah, you heard some of the excitement there, a reference to due process. Why?
There's a sign. We want due process. The courts work when the courts work for Americans.
So I assume you're making a reference to the fact that we're not seeing due process from...
Not seeing due process from these goons.
Can you walk through like what for folks that don't live here, who it's not on their local news every night because maybe they're only tuning into like CNN and we're only seeing like this media presence out here for one day, so maybe they're not seeing it every day on their screens, getting a sense for what it's like in their communities. When you're celebrating the simple act of due process, what are you seeing here in the Chicagoland area on a daily basis that leads you to celebrate such a basic American right?
We're seeing people snatched up from their homes. We're seeing small children put in zip ties. We're seeing people that are, isn't this building boarded up where they have people inside? I mean, my God, they're deporting people to countries they're not even from? What in the hell is happening? Come and join us. We're out here. I'm joining these fine people who have been here every day, and you'll see me after work every day too, and I hope we'll see more people.
There you go.
Please come out.
Thank you.
Please come out.
Yeah, that's a theme that we have heard repeatedly from the demonstrators out here. Please come out. Please join the movement.
Expressing freedom.
Yeah. Let's.
I'm not. No, I'm just saying. We're just using our First Amendment rights.
Yeah.
To speak.
Why did you feel compelled? Why was it so important to be out here? I'm not sure exactly.
People know that it's okay to come out and to support this. I'm not the. I get tongue tied.
That's all right.
Put
Microphone in your face. It can be intimidating. I understand. And I'm here to help you out.
speech, and I don't want it to go away.
Yeah, such a basic thing. our freedom of speech, we don't want it to go away because they're seeing people disappeared off the streets of their communities that they have to, you feel like you have to exercise this First Amendment right in this country, lest it be taken away. If you don't stand up now, when will you stand up?
It's coming for everybody. I saw the police pull over some landscapers today. They were all outside of their truck. They all had to pull out their IDs. I don't know what happened. I was driving west on Roosevelt Road and they were all pulled over. This is crazy to be treated like this as an American citizen. It is not right.
Yeah, to be living in fear in your own communities. I want to get a sense for, like, the buoyed spirits. We heard from some of the demonstrators further down the street here, a real sense of elation, kind of recharging of the batteries, that, hey, our voices are making a difference. Fighting back is working in this case. I want to get the sense, like, what are some of those emotions that y'all are feeling out here right now? Maybe we can just go down the line and get some reactions from everybody.
So I think emotions are very high. There's highs and lows. We are very excited that a judge said that the National Guard, at least temporarily, has to stand back. That's excellent news. But then, in the next breath, I'm standing next to a gentleman and I find out that his father was kidnapped this morning and is in the facility right now and asked me to pray for him. So, the emotions are all over the place. But you mentioned fear a minute ago. And, the thing is, friends, older white folks, if you've got the time, we need to get out of our comfort zones. This little group that you're talking to right now, we're about 100 yards from the facility. We don't feel like we're within shooting range. No one is shooting at us. We are out here interacting with the traffic that is driving by and reminding them that ICE is here and asking them to honk if they love the Constitution. So I think we do need to get out of our comfort zones and, worst case scenario, maybe get hit by a stray rubber bullet. Well, sorry, people of color have been putting their bodies in harm's way. Their bodies are in harm's way now by the National Guard, by ICE. So, yes, get out here, show your support, and we do feel that it makes a difference.
Yeah, and just that stark reminder when you say you're standing next to somebody who says, my father was in this facility.
This gentleman right here.
That's him.
I don't want to put him on the spot in this moment. I'll ask him in just a minute if he wants to do an interview. But when you're reminded of that humanity, that's what's striking to me from that you said this is somebody's father, mother, daughter, son. That there are lives bound up in this pain that's happening here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And here's the thing, friends. If you call yourself a progressive liberal, then you need to get out here, whether it's in your community. I mean, we just started standing on this street corner, my husband and me, 3 weeks ago, right? And it's building slowly and slowly. So, you don't need to even have some great big organized thing. There are ways to stand up in your community for what you believe in. And if your values aren't your values if you don't express them in a crisis. This is a crisis. If you believe in equal rights, then this is the time to express that and to stand up and speak out. If you are home alone, scared in your house, that's not helping anybody.
And that's something that we've seen repeatedly, is a real sense of community coming together in this moment. When we were in the Brighton Park neighborhood where a woman was shot just less than a week ago, what we saw was a community coming out to support each other. When they got tear gassed, people came out with water to wash faces. We saw people standing, locking arms, trying to show a sense of solidarity in that moment. We've been focusing here a lot on the positives that came out of today's ruling, and there's been several rulings that we could probably just keep talking around, like federal government or these agents now having to identify themselves in some way. One judge ruled a ruling against the brutalization of the press. Like, we can go down the line. There's been several court victories, but also there was Kristi Noem today vowed to, quote unquote, double down on Chicago and open up more ICE centers in this community. What's your reaction when you hear that?
Go for it, Jim.
Well, I mean, Kristi Noem, come on. She's a joke. She's got nothing going for her. She just does what Trump says to do, and that's it. By the way, her original face, much cuter than this one.
Wonderful. Yeah.
He doesn't have to do all that just to suck Trump's dick.
People not afraid to tell it like it is down here in Broadview, Illinois, as you just heard. Lucky for them, yeah, you can curse and... yes, it is. Thank you for saying that live on air. I do want to give one update. We're continuing to learn more about this order as it comes out in real time. And we've kept hearing that this is a partial injunction. We've been trying to figure out exactly what that partial means. And it seems to be, at least in terms of duration, that this is a temporary injunction from the federalizing of Illinois National Guard from today through October 23rd. On October 22nd, the judge in this case, April Perry, will hold a telephone hearing to decide if the temporary injunction should be extended for another 14 days. So it's a temporary measure, at least now through October 23rd, barring the federalization of the National Guard and its use here in the entire state of Illinois. So that is the sense. We'll kind of give you, I'll have John here survey the scene one more time as I go about trying to get another interview for us, folks.
Hey, bro. All like and follow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Hey, bro.
Hey, how are you? I'm all right. How you doing?
Okay, I'm going to get sir.
Hello. I don't mind you all standing here, but cannot protest right here, okay? After 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Yep, that's the warning for the protesters out here that it is after the protesting hours. Free speech in this area has been limited to several free speech zones behind some concrete barriers, and only during certain hours between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. That's the only time that folks are allowed to protest out here. First, they get a warning. If they don't follow the warning, then they get a citation. Don't follow the citation, get arrested. It's 6:10 right now, John. Yeah, so we're kind of holding people here, but I wanted to do one interview, and your name was, sir?
Jose Dominguez.
Jose Dominguez. Thank you for talking to us, Jose. My name is JT, and we're talking to you because you were just telling me off camera that this morning your father was taken by ICE.
That's correct.
Yeah, walk us through what happened this morning.
So I already had like a feeling this morning, so I was trying to, keep calm. I messaged him, and he saw my message. He's like, okay, and then I messaged him again, but he never replied. I tried calling him, went to voicemail. I had a feeling. I went to the laundromat, saw his car there, went inside the laundromat. The lady said they took him, and then I just took surveillance video of what happened and posted it on social media.
Had you, first of all, I'm so sorry that has happened to you and your family right now. Have you gotten any word as to where he is, if he's okay?
I don't. I haven't got a hold of him.
So you're out here just in. Why did you feel the need to be here in this moment?
I feel like this is the least I can do for him.
Is to try and stand up, advocate for him, I assume.
Yes, that's correct.
So walk me through some of the emotions that you're feeling right now in this moment.
I mean, it hurts. I mean, honestly, seeing the video, it hurts a lot. I have no words, really. It's just something I wish for nobody to go through. My dad's a hard worker. He's not a criminal. He gets up every day, put foods on the table, just like everybody else. I think it's unfair. I believe in God. and I know they're going to release him. We're going to do it the right way. We're going to get a lawyer, and we're going to get him out of there. I'm just having calm right now, being patient.
I'm kind of struck by just the strength that you have in this moment right now, like that the fact that your father has just been taken, and you're out here demonstrating, telling this story, like standing up, talking. I mean, where's that strength coming from right now?
I'm telling you, man, God's doing everything, man. Trust me, like, I'm crying. I'm in tears right now. I'm trying to hold it together, but God is good, man. Good things are going to come through. I know it. I have faith in him. Yep.
Can you try to tell us a little bit about who your father is, what he was like as a person? I think for a lot of folks who don't have somebody in their family or in their community that's being directly impacted right now by what the federal government is doing, it can kind of just be like it's something that happens on the TV screen. It's not real, or it's just a statistic if they see some numbers about what had happened. Let's make it real for people. Tell us a little bit about him. What was he like? What is he like? What does he do? Like, what are his hobbies? What's his work? That sort of thing.
Yeah. My dad, he gets up every day, puts food on the table. He likes soccer. He's a very chill guy. He has addiction of gambling. He's just a chill guy. I mean, I love him so much. He's not my blood. I already lost my real dad. He's a stepfather for me, but he's my real dad. He basically raised me when I was like 1, so I consider him as my dad. And it hurts a lot.
And as you said, like somebody who's not a criminal, like just probably in the wrong place at the wrong time is what it seems. I mean, did you know that like this was a possibility? Like, were you afraid of this possibility at all?
I was afraid, and my parents didn't even go out either. Like, they always just work and then go home. And I was always protected over there. I'll go buy the errands, groceries, do everything for them. But they took my father. It hurts. I have no words, really. I'm just going day by day. It hasn't even been 24 hours. It already hurts like a lot.
Do you have a message for this administration that's disappeared your father? I mean, do you have words that you would want to leave people at home? Like if you had a message, I don't want to hold you too long. Like, if this is a very raw, emotional moment for you. I think we've gotten a good sense for who he is, how you're feeling in this moment. But I'm kind of inviting you, like, is there any like parting thoughts that you would want to leave before we let you kind of step off camera here and continue to process what's happening?
I just hope all my Mexican people, my Latino raza, stay safe. I mean, it's okay to be scared. Like, if you have no reason to be out there, I get it. We have to work and everything. But if you have no reason to be out there, just stay home, They're just getting anybody that even just looks Mexican. Like, what? It's not right. This isn't normal.
Jose, thank you very much. Appreciate it. John, I'm going to give you this microphone. I want to talk to him for just a moment. Nope. Just have you kind of show this. Yep.
All right, how's everyone doing? If you haven't done so already, smash that like button and share this when you can. There's just a few people out here. So it looks like more people are arriving. I'm curious to see how this goes. See if they'll get another warning about the no protest time, which is after 6. Now it's almost 6:20. So we'll see if the police come over and give a warning. right, JT will be right back. He's just finishing up his conversation. You know, being here for almost 3 weeks straight, it's this place has changed a lot since I got here. Almost, more than 2 weeks ago. Just the dynamics of everything has changed. The police presence, the area as to where people could protest, what time they could protest. The amount of media that's out here. So I've seen the changes happen over the past 3 weeks, and it's just, everything's always changing, constantly changing, and it's very unpredictable as to where things will go now. Okay, JT is back. Let's get back to it. We got some more people here to interview if we can. Sure. Some more people showed up here.
Oh, yeah.
Could ask them about the 6 p.m.
The 6 p.m. Limit here. It says John may have just been telling you about that 6 p.m. limit here on the protests out that the Village of Broadview has instituted. You're only allowed to protest in certain spots down here outside of the ICE detention facility, and at certain times, only between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. Central Time. It's now just after 6 here, and yet we still got some protesters across the street. So I'm going to make my way over there, and we're going to see if we can't talk to them about how they're feeling about the ruling today, and then how they're feeling about those limits on the amount of time that they are allowed to express themselves and the hours during which they're allowed to have free speech. I see you notepad. Gotcha. All right. Reporter. I was also looking for interviews. Who are you talking to? I'm talking to her. Gotcha. Talk to me. I wanted to find out why you wanted to be out here, why now, and why you felt like it was important.
I think I'm not. I don't.
Can't make it.
Yeah.
Can't make it.
We're involved with some degree as part of
Status Coup. This is my cameraman, John. All right, so we'll look this way. All right, so I'm standing here with Kate. Kate, let's first start real basic. Why did you want to be out here today demonstrating?
I've been coming out here for a couple weeks now because the ICE facility here, myself and a lot of other people here in Chicago believe that it's a violation of human rights to be keeping people in this facility, to be grabbing them off the street, often in unmarked cars, without uniforms, not telling them where they're going or what's going to happen to them.
And those are common themes that we've heard from folks out here about why they want to be out here. the new development from today is the federal judge, if you've heard the news, has, yeah, I'm already getting nods of yes.
The National Guard has to leave, which it makes me happy to live here in Illinois, that we have that support from our state government.
Meaning in terms of bringing the lawsuit, taking that step?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, were you, reaction to the ruling aside, like to the ruling itself? You say it makes you grateful to live in the state of Illinois, where the state attorney general, governor will take the step to file it, but the actual ruling itself, at least as a temporary injunction until October 22nd, that the federal government cannot nationalize the National Guard, is that enough?
Doubtful. Until ICE itself is abolished as an organization, I don't think anybody's safe. They answer to one person only, and that's a very scary situation.
Yeah, that's kind of that's sort of what I've heard a lot more. Like I've heard some like cautious optimism coming out of the ruling. I'm getting the sense that maybe you're a little bit less optimistic. Is that an accurate summation of how you feel?
Yes.
Okay?
We can't have the signs.
No, not the signs.
Okay.
All right. Now, if you want to stand here, that's not a problem. I have no issue with that. Okay? But we can't have the signs because then it falls under the ordinance.
Does your mayor know that ordinance is not enforceable constitutionally? Or I guess, do you know?
That's not his.
You're the enforcer.
He has no control
Speak to my
over
mayor
that.
about that.
But you're the one that actually executes.
That has to enforce it.
Yeah, so we've got law enforcement out here right now, again, enforcing that 6 p.m. curfew.
Be arrested, that's on you.
Oh, do I want to, chat? All right, ups and downs.
So the law enforcement has been the village of Broadview rather has instituted this these protest hours between 9 and 6, and in the designated areas that you are allowed to.
We call it the designated free speech area, where you can have free speech within the business hours. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, how does it make you feel to have your speech?
Angry. It's absolutely a violation of First Amendment rights, and I get what they're talking about. They're saying, well, it's disruptive to the people that live here, and that's kind of the point of protest, isn't it? Because if you don't disrupt the status quo, then nothing is going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're not allowed to, actually like interrupt any of the ICE operations, what is the point?
Not that anybody here is doing that. Everybody here has been very peaceful. There have been some like counter protesters, and things have gotten loud. But other than that, any kind of aggression has come totally from ICE. Yeah.
Can you give us a sense of some of those? Give our viewers a couple of examples. I think they've probably seen on some of our live streams. But
I wasn't here for many of them. There was an old woman who was pushed to the ground and dragged. She was actually back here yesterday. She had gone to the hospital. She's all bruised up. There was a priest who was hit in the head with a pepper ball. Again, I'm sure you've heard of all of these.
Oh yeah, and I'll note too that a lot of our reporting has actually been used in some of these court cases that are that are actually helping protesters right now, like reestablish some of their rights. That prosecutor or folks who are filing some of these lawsuits against the federal government actually using Status Coup's reporting to show what it's actually like here on the ground, what federal authorities are actually doing to people. I want to be careful not to get you in trouble because I'm keeping you here holding a sign after law enforcement just warned you.
If I were to be arrested, well, at least I sincerely hope that it wouldn't hold up, because it is a violation of our constitutional rights to limit our ability to protest.
I mean, so is the act of protesting out here then essentially almost a meta protest in itself?
I guess, yeah. Just being here, yeah.
So what do you want to see from local authorities, from local leaders then to support your First Amendment rights?
I mean, the city of Broadview has issued this suit against ICE for the fence that they've put up around the facility, which I think is a step. But I question the move to put in this ordinance where we're limited on our ability to protest. I would like to see more backing for the people that are here.
Backing in the form, I mean, we've seen the mayor issue some strongly worded statements, send some letters.
But she has also put in this ordinance that is limiting our ability to protest here.
So it's really just about repealing that order and
yeah.
So I mean, do did the any of the federal rulings that came out today, a lot of them in favor of folks out here protesting, their prefer what they would like to see happen. I imagine you kind of said, you're a little bit more skeptical of what this means long term. What does it do for your spirits, your ability to be out here longer? I mean, do you feel like you still have the energy to go the distance?
Oh, yeah.
And does the court orders help at all with
I'll
that?
continue showing up no matter what, I think in sending the National Guard out here, the point was kind of to incite protesters so that they could paint us in a negative light as this violent group, which is not the case at all. And it makes me just want to continue to be here in a peaceful way. I will continue to stay motivated to do that no matter what.
Kate, is there anything that you would? I've asked you plenty of questions here. Is there anything that you would want to leave our audience with? Any question I should have asked you that I haven't? Anything I haven't given you the opportunity to say that you would like to?
All that I really want to say, which is something that came up with a counter-protester today, is that illegal immigrants are still people, just like you and I don't believe that me being born here by chance necessarily gives me any more right than it does them, and everybody deserves to pursue safety, happiness.
Kate, thank you very much for talking. And I'm gonna have John just kind of spin the camera here, give you a real sense of what it's like out here. You'll see that protesters have mostly evaporated because, again, they are being limited as to the times and places in which they are allowed to exercise their First Amendment rights here in the village of Broadview, outside of the Broadview, Illinois ICE detention facility. So now that we are past 6 o'clock Central Time, we've now seen police issue several warnings to the people who remained that they needed to leave. We humorously heard one officer say, "You can continue to stand here, but you cannot hold a sign," which seems like an odd distinction to make. But yeah, you see this large media presence out here. Some of them beginning to pack up. This is very different than from the scene that was here even just yesterday, in terms of the amount of media presence that was out here. For the last 2 weeks, it's been us, a few other independent outlets, and local press for the most part. So to see this level of national attention on Broadview is, I suppose, refreshing, but also a little disappointing that it wasn't here when protesters were being tear gassed, were being brutalized, thrown to the ground, shot with pepper balls, shot with rubber bullets, arrested. They're out here now because you can get some rather grainy, faraway shots of some National Guard officers if you zoom the camera in far enough, though not for very much longer. So we'll see if these cameras then move on tomorrow, because, again, because a federal judge just today issued a ruling that has temporarily barred the Trump administration from federalizing the National Guard and deploying it within the state of Illinois. The judge said that this was. She said that this was largely about the Trump administration not being a believable actor out here, that their framing of events, where it differed from the state, was unbelievable. Notably in trying to assert that the state of Illinois was close or actively in some sort of state of rebellion that needed the deployment of troops to the streets of Chicago and Broadview, Illinois. That was somewhat ridiculous, and so therefore temporarily barring the Trump administration from deploying the National Guard. Units had been mobilized from the state of Illinois, Texas, and California, and had been sent here to Broadview, Illinois, and the Chicagoland area. And now those troops will not be able to be deployed at least until October 22nd, or October 23rd, excuse me. I do want to note a few things here. First of all, John, we've got to give some kudos to John here behind the camera. John has been here on the ground for the last 2 weeks. He has essentially relocated to the Chicago area. He lives here basically out of a hotel room. I've been here on and off for the last week. We are reporting here on the ground. John has spent the last several weeks now away from his daughter. I have a newborn at home who I am not seeing in order to be able to be here reporting. We are going to continue to be here through the weekend. For the next few days, I want to talk about the fact that we're going to have live coverage of protests tomorrow outside of the federal courthouse. We're expecting more developments out of the courthouse tomorrow, but there will be demonstrations out there. We will continue to be live. You will continue to see more of our reporting, our produced reporting, the edited videos that we will be putting together here over the next several days. Our whole team working on that around the clock. So if you want to be able to see all that, please subscribe. Please follow us on all of our social media channels so that you get notified. Enable notifications so that you can see the moment we go live somewhere, get the latest news from us, that actual on-the-ground, unvarnished look. We're not afraid to get our camera right into the action, unlike corporate media where you tend to see it from far away, or to the extent that you do see it up close, they're licensing it from an independent outlet like us. We are chasing down all kinds of leads here about what ICE is actually doing in the community. We're lifting up community voices. If that is important to you, please subscribe. Go to statuscoup.com/join for just $5 a month. It keeps us doing this important work and keeps us here in Chicago, bringing you that unvarnished look. And if that is something that you value this good journalism, please, 16 cents a day is all it costs to keep us doing this work and lifting up these voices. I'll note that these crews here behind us, they've got multiple people for their networks out here. They've got big fancy lighting setups, cameras that cost tens of thousands of dollars. We're a professional operation, but nowhere near the scale of this. It is just me and John on the ground doing all of this work with the support of Michelle, Colin, and of course Jordan, who are helping us get all of this news out to you. We're small, we're feisty, and we're able to cover a lot more than what this corporate media is. So it just goes to illustrate the value that we provide. And if you find what we do important, please support our work. I do want to give a shout out. I do want to give shout outs to the folks who have taken the time and the energy and the effort to support us here just during this chat. For Super Chats, we had Captain PJ, who gave us $50. Thank you, sir. Thank you. That goes a long way. You would not believe what $50 can pay for out here. And Southern Bell, who gave us $2. For new YouTube members, we have Cameron, Tom Warda, Sunny Bear Rescue. Sunny Bear Rescue gifted 1 membership. Thank you very much for that. Laura McPherson, Sig Knight, Renette OKC, Andy K., Ralph DeMarco, Reptile Z, Jaybird 1777, and then through the website we had Amelia, Emily, Edward, Michael, Jeff, Monica, Lorene, Ryan, Daniel, Stephen, and then we also had donations, $100 from Joseph. Oh my God. Wow. Sorry, you guys are really showing us the love here during this trip, showing that, you do value this journalism, and it's a little bit moving to get this level of support. So thank you. And $20 from Sarah, who says, thank you for your solid reporting. Thank you, Sarah, for your solid report. $5 from Jacob, and another $20 from Donald. From all of us here at Status Coup, from myself, John, Colin, Michelle, and Jordan, thank you very much for following along with this live reporting out here, and we'll continue to bring you more through the weekend. For Status Coup in Broadview, Illinois, I'm JT Siskowski. Thank you guys. Good night.